Hi there, this is Erongo Talk, and today we find ourselves at the Naraville Public Library in Walvis Bay. My name is Adolf, and I will be your host for today. So, we have a very cool show that we have lined up for you, and it includes the news as well as the weather and tides, and a very, very interesting interview with the headmaster of the Swakopmund Secondary School, that is Sinvula Sibanga. So, I know that you are looking forward to that. So, stay tuned for today's calendar day. Welcome back. It is now time for the news. And firstly, a local ship repair company NAMDOC and the Metal and Allied Namibia Workers Union MANU signed a recognition and procedural agreement earlier this month. According to the NAMDOC acting chief executive Herita Nokole Muyoba, this agreement signed on 3 June not only serves to ratify and confirm our recognition of MANU and the interest of its members employed by NAMDOC, but also to record the strong sense of trust, goodwill, and mutual respect of both parties in this regard. So, Nankole Muyoba added that the foundation of NAMDOC and MANU's mutually beneficial relationship is based on common values of kindness, trust, transparency, respect, integrity, and fairness. So, through mutual adherence to these fundamental elements, both parties aim to set an example to other Namibian employers and unions in terms of building sound and meaningful working relationships which foster and promote business growth and profitability, so she said. And secondly, a motion to rescind a council resolution made in 2014 in terms of Naraville's extension 12 and 14 was tabled by the deputy mayor of Walvis Bay, Sarah Mutondoka. So the matter was withdrawn for further internal discussions between the councillors during a previously held council meeting. It was then submitted to the management committee for reconsideration and resubmitted to the council. So according to Mutondoka, informal decisions were held on 18 May, where it became evident that there are some deficiencies concerning the sale of these blocks of land. So the land was sold in 2014 with certain conditions. However, the purchaser only signed the deed of sale in February this year, while the council did not sign it yet, she said. So Mutondoka also said that the 10% of the sale had been paid earlier this year, while the 10% contribution of the landscaping was only paid on 19 May. So you can catch this story on our website, which is www.erongo.com.na. And finally, in some sports news, we have, of course, the sad passing of Mr. Jeffrey, who was a definite legend in the world of sports, especially young people. So the former UNAM FC head coach, Woody Jacobs, says that it would be fitting for the UNAM Stadium in Pioneers Park in the capital city to be renamed after the late long-serving sports administrator, Werner Jeffrey. So according to Jacobs, who coached UNAM FC from 2019 to 2020, renaming the stadium after Jeffrey would be the best way to honor him because he did so much in terms of administration with the youth development in sports for this country. And Jacobs is quoted as saying, "This is due to the amount of work that he put in, and that is how great he was." And the people who rubbed shoulders with him can also attest to this. So really, it is our condolences here from Erongo 24/7 and Erongo Talk to Mr. Jeffrey and his family. A loss definitely in the world of sports. You can catch this and many other stories on our website, which is erongo.com.na. So that concludes the news for today.
Joining us here today is Mr. Sinvula Sibanga. He is the principal of Swakopmund Secondary School. Hi, Mr. Sibanga, how are you?
Good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, Mr. Sibanga, the Ministry of Education has recently collaborated with the Ministry of Health on the prevention of the spread of COVID-19 and decided that the lower grades in schools should take a winter break. How do you feel about this break?
I received the news with mixed feelings as an educator. It's a good move in the sense that there has been an increasing number of COVID-19 positive cases, especially in big schools, and of course, AAS is not an exclusion in that arrangement. The fact that grade 8 and 9 has to take a winter break, of course it will help decongest the schools. Mm-hmm. And then leaving grade 10, 11 and 12, probably looking at the fact that these are the senior grades that has to take an external examination, so they need more preparation for the examinations. But of course there are consequences, or there are challenges that comes with both the decisions, either to send one group home and to keep one group. Sending the younger ones home would probably result into the further spread of the virus, because they may not be able to be kept at home by parents that are supposedly supposed to go to work and leave the children alone and attended to at home. So you don't know what these children might end up doing. So as much as we feel they are, decongesting the schools and helping the further spread of the virus, we might end up doing exactly the opposite. That is one concern that I have. With a group that stays in the school, one could be that yes, they will be manageable. The group will be quite small. It's good that they have to be kept in the schools, but of course the rate at which teachers are also contracting the virus, it's worrying me, because then you will find a group of learners kept in schools, but then there might be 2, 3, 4 teachers that are absent every day because they have to go in isolation after having contracted the virus and so. Both arrangement has their own challenges and benefits. Yes. I see.
Yes. And Mr. Sibanga, obviously the troubles that have come with the COVID-19 pandemic and the repeated closure of schools and things like that creates a little bit of a gap in the education of this group. How do you think this gap will affect them going forward?
Yes, the gap will have a negative effect on the learners. We are already observing that. The fact that last year did not also go well, you can see a big gap in terms of the competences that these learners should have, attained in the previous grades. They are very difficult to comprehend the concepts now in the new grades because of the challenges that we had last year. So that is obvious that it will be there. I know the syllabi were rationalized, they were shortened, some stuff were removed in order to accommodate a small amount of work, but of course this did not help much. This is going to be really an unfortunate group of learners that we have from last year when we had COVID-19 and going forward. But of course, teachers should just do the best they could do in order to use the limited time that they have to cover as much as possible in terms of the work. I know teachers are also operating under fear. They might not be giving their best because of the fear of contracting the virus. But of course, we are employed to do the work. We just have to do our best.
Yes. And Mr. Sibanga, as a principal, and we all know you are a very hands-on principal and you're very involved in your school community. As a school principal, more than a year after we reported our index case, looking back on your students, how has this pandemic affected them?
It has affected them. Even their mental health, psychologically, physically. We mentioned recently, you can recall that we had our hostel closed down for almost 3 weeks. Kids could not come to school, and they kept on calling me, begging me if I could just have them beg, because some of them, they were asymptomatic, they could not show symptoms, they didn't see a need of them being kept there. They really wanted, they feared that they are now behind with their schoolwork. So you can see that psychologically, challenge that they are facing. So the kids are affected. Kids are affected. The fact that they're even testing positive. Some of them being positive, and as long as they don't feel sick and they don't show sign, they want to come back to school because they are afraid the exams will come and they'll not do that good in the exam. So the closing off and the opening, and it really has that negative effect because even kids cannot have the smooth running of the lessons. Whenever we come back, it feels as if it's a new beginning. And then when we close, kids are switching off their minds into something else. This has really a negative effect. One can see as we receive them back, how they comprehend the work. It feels as if we are teaching them for the very first time. Every time we reopen, it feels like beginning of the year, like it's January.
And then, Mr. Sibanga, last question. How do we move forward? Considering this impact that the pandemic has had on students, what will you need from your teachers and from parents and the public and the ministry to lessen the impact of that the COVID-19 pandemic has had on students?
To move forward, I would make the following suggestions. One is to call upon the teaching staff, not only at Swakopmund Secondary School but countrywide, to give their utmost best in helping these learners to complete their academic year, despite the challenges posed by COVID-19. Because if we don't, then this group of generation will be will go into waste. These learners will not grasp anything, and they will become a lifelong problem of the country in terms of now having to add on the unemployment rate. The community needs to assist schools where they can to enforce the adherence to COVID-19 protocols, especially their learners, because we have challenges whereby learners come from home without adhering to COVID-19 protocols, and everything has been left in the hands of the schools to ensure that kids do adhere to COVID-19 protocols. Simple things like wearing of masks and keeping social distance and these things. If kids are used to it at home already, they will not give us problems when they get to school. The fact that they give us problems here is evident enough that these are not enforced probably at home in some households. I'm not saying all of them. Of course, the general community also need to spread the news. Churches, meetings that are organized in the communities should speak to the COVID-19 preventative measures whenever they meet, and we need to also follow the regulations in terms of the number of people to gather. Even if it's a family gathering, we need to adhere to this, because remember, we are one of the biggest schools here. So if a child picks the virus from a family organized meeting or event, that one child will affect more than 1,400 or 500 learners at the school, and then that will lead to the school to close. So to avoid that, we need to all be mindful about ourselves in the first place, and also about others that we are to meet at school or at workplaces. And of course, for the rest of us as a school, we need to just do our best. As I said, we need to do our best and make sure that this generation of kids are given the best under the circumstance that we are experiencing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, Mr. Sibanga.
Thank you.
The Ongwediva Annual Trade Fair 2021 brings you exhibition excellence and will be taking place from 26 to 31 August at the Ongwediva Trade Fair Showgrounds. The theme this year is Gearing for a Smart Economy. This year, exhibitors have their option to showcase their products and services at the Ongwediva Trade Fair Showgrounds or virtually via a special trade fair website. Apply for a stand at www.oatf.com.na. Call 065 230 191. Email info@oatf.com.na. The Ongwediva Annual Trade Fair 2021 is proudly sponsored by MTC, FNB, Nedbank, Ongwediva Town Council.
1, 2, 3.
Hi, my name is Ernesto de Jesus. I'm a US level student at Namib High School, and I would just like to share a study tip with you guys. So my study tip for today would be pray, people. I feel like a lot of people don't know the importance and strength of prayer. If you go down on your knees and ask God, Father Lord, any devil that's trying to intervene with my studying today, let it be banished in the name of Jesus Christ. So I have done it. I'm speaking out of experience. Pray, people. It is very effective. Thank you very much.
You can now stay tuned for the tides in Walvis Bay, as well as the weather forecast for all the major towns in the Erongo region. I trust that you have enjoyed today's episode. It was really cool having you in my presence. But do not despair. We have so much more as well on our website, which is www.erongo.com.na. You can catch, obviously, our news and so much more on that specific website. We are available as well on YouTube, Facebook, as well as Twitter and Instagram, where you can catch a lot more pertaining to Erongo 24/7, as well as this particular show. Our WhatsApp and Telegram number is 0811 70040, where you can send us your latest news, tips, as well as videos. Just make sure it is in landscape mode. You can also use this number specifically for advertisement opportunities. So tomorrow we'll be back in Walvis Bay for a very laid back edition that will be of Erongo Talk, more entertainment and more chilled. So from me, Adolf Kaure, I would just like to tell everyone out there to stay safe and enjoy the rest of the day.